Hi guys, Steady Eddie back again. This time having another little walk and talk through the heart of the lush English countryside. So what's happening? How is everybody keeping? And how are things in the never-ending, long-running pandemic soap opera? Well, it's the month of June and the weather is terrific. Nice little heat wave spell, but rumour has it that things are not going to get better anytime soon. You know, the lockdown seems to be over, but not completely. But it won't be completely over because there's a bit of a rise in the old antivirus, which is causing problems. Cut a long story short, the idea of us getting back on aeroplanes and going to places where we want to go to still seems a long way away. So, with regards to when we can all get back out to Thailand and start having a life again, what is the latest news that is on offer? Well, the latest news that has had more pre-publicity than a Star Wars movie is this thing known as the Phuket Sandwich, or Sandbox. What's a sandbox? What a strange name. Anyway, I think sandwich is better. I brought a few sandwiches on my little country walk anyway. So let's call it the Phuket Sandwich or Sandbox, whatever you prefer. Well, what it is basically is that from the 1st of July, supposedly, we can all go to Thailand once again, provided we go to Phuket and provided we stay in quarantine for, well, it was 7 days, but now it looks more like 14 days. This is supposedly going to happen from the 1st of July 2021. Is it going to happen? And is it really anything to get excited about? Well, I must admit, this one certainly sounds a lot better than the last one. The idea with this one is that you can go to Thailand, providing you have your, a couple of vaccines, parts 1 and 2. And also, you can land in Phuket for a couple of weeks. You are not restricted to the one hotel. You do have to undergo, regular PCR or CP or whatever the hell they're called, tests while you're out there. So for the first 2 weeks, it's not exactly a holiday, but you can roam around the whole of Phuket, which is quite a big island, and there's a lot going on there. Under normal circumstances, of course, which certainly these are not normal circumstances. So generally, this is a lot better than the last Phuket model, but the Phuket Sandwich Sandbox idea, the real benefit of it is that after 14 days of being in Phuket and testing negative, you are then free to roam around the wonderful country of Thailand. Now that is really good. Well, the first thing you've got to say about all of this Phuket Sandwich model, is that if it's going to benefit anybody, it will of course benefit the long-term travellers. The fact is that you can spend the first couple of weeks in Phuket, which is really, under normal circumstances, is a really nice place to spend a couple of weeks. In fact, after that long journey to Thailand from the UK or wherever, to actually spend a couple of weeks in Phuket, well, there's worse places to be, and you are free to roam around the island. You're not restricted to some prison hotel. After a long journey, well, you can easily just relax for a couple of weeks. Sometimes it can take you that long to recover, and you can set about your plans for the ensuing journey. It's nice to know that after a couple of weeks, you are then free to roam around Thailand, go to the place that you really want to go to. It sounds pretty good that way. So it's certainly a big improvement on the last Phuket idea. The downside of this is that it's not ideal for short-term travellers, 2 to 3 weeks. The fact is that even though you don't have to do that prisoner 2-week ASQ hotel, and you are free to wander around the island of Phuket for a couple of weeks, the fact is that you may not necessarily want to go to Phuket. You may prefer to go to other places in Thailand. And also, during that 2 weeks, it's not as if you can completely relax. How about those tests that you have to do every few days? Those expensive tests, and, well, you really won't want to do those on a 2-week holiday. That's not what you go abroad for. Okay, so it's not good for the short-term travellers. It doesn't take a genius to figure that one out. But yeah, it is a progression for the long-term traveller who doesn't want to do a 2-week prison hotel. It certainly is a progression, no doubt about that. But it does have its drawbacks, and the drawbacks are quite big. Drawback number one, well, this is supposedly getting underway on July the 1st. I don't think that's confirmed at this moment in time, but it's supposedly getting underway on July the 1st. One of the drawbacks, initially it was supposed to be 7 days on Phuket, but they've put it back to 14 days now. You have to say, at this moment in time, what is today's date? Today's date is June the 13th. So the 1st of July is still, you know, about 2.5 weeks away, so things could easily change. But the other thing to mention is that this is very, very out of season for Thailand. If it really begins in the beginning of July, then the fact is we are deep into the rainy season, and Thailand is not really a great deal of fun in the rainy season. Phuket is, of course, an island, and what do people go to islands for? Well, predominantly beaches. Well, beaches aren't a great deal of fun when it's raining all the time. Now, I know what some people say about this. I have heard this before. Some people say that during the rainy season in places like Phuket or the tropical countries, it's not a problem really, because what happens is that it's gloriously sunny, and then it starts raining heavily for about an hour, and then an hour later it all clears up and it goes back to being gloriously sunny again. Now, you must have heard that. I've heard that many times, and somehow I still don't believe it. I've been to Thailand in the months of May, September. Never been out there June, July, August, but May and September are close enough to the pits of the rainy season you can get. And believe me, when it rains, it can rain for days and days and days on end. And to put it short, islands are not a great deal of fun when it's raining all the time. There's not really a great deal you can do during the rainy season. So another question to ask is that in a month like July in a place like Phuket, what exactly is happening out there in terms of, you know, businesses, entertainment, this sort of thing? Well, the thing about islands is that a lot of regular businesses are actually closed during the low season anyway. Many still stay open, but it's not as busy as the peak season, which obviously runs from November through to March. But you've got a double whammy here, because not only will some of those businesses be closed as they normally are, but because of what's happened in the past year, a lot of them are going to be closed. A lot of those businesses are going to be closed. You know, I mean, well, you know, look at the economy of Thailand. In Thailand, tourism makes up probably about 20% of the economy, something like that. You hear different reports. But Phuket is a tourist island, and tourism makes up about 90% of the economy in Phuket. So, because of what's happening, is it really going to be as lively as what you would hope it to be? It's a phrase that's being thrown around quite a lot at the moment with regards to Thailand and tourism, and it's a phrase that really is quite relevant. It's the phrase chicken and egg. You see, if tourists start flooding out to a place like Phuket once again, then they will find that there's not much there to entertainment. There may be a bit, but it won't be anywhere near as much as what you hoped in terms of bar girls and all this kind of stuff. It's not really going to happen in a big way. So the tourists really won't want to go out there until they can be sure that there's plenty out there for them. And the people who work in the entertainment industry, like the bar girls, won't want to leave their villages and rent apartments in places like Phuket in order to you know, when there's a real chance that there's not going to be many customers there for them. It's the chicken and egg situation. So it's not really a winning situation whichever way you look at it. So what's out there right now in a place like Phuket to make it worth your while heading out there? Well, you know, you can only go by what you see in YouTube videos and that sort of stuff, but it doesn't look like much fun to me. Not really. You know, for 2 weeks out there, maybe July or August, no, it don't look good to me at all. But personally, if I was heading out to Thailand for 3 or 4 months, then the Phuket model, you know, the Phuket sandwich or whatever you want to call it, it's actually not that bad, even though it is in the rainy season. Because the fact is, like I said before, if I was heading out there for 3 or 4 months, I could easily lose the first couple of weeks wandering around a nice place like Phuket. Okay, be a bit grim, but the fact is, after that long journey, sometimes it can take a week or two to get your act together before going on to other places. Yeah, I can certainly suffer that. It's a damn sight improvement on being stuck in a prison hotel, I know that much. Another thing that you have to consider is that Phuket is notoriously expensive. It always has been, really, but I think more so in recent years than as I recall it. I've only ever been there once before. That was about 18 years ago, and it was in the month of January, which is the perfect time to go to a place like that. Beautiful, beautiful weather. Went out to the islands. Fantastic. I loved it. And 18 years ago, I didn't really think it was that expensive. But things have changed, and the way it is now that it's, you know, it is expensive. But I suppose in this situation, are you likely to spend loads of money out there? Well, the big question is there plenty to spend your money on out there right now? It's not a matter of how expensive it is. It's more a question of what can you spend your money on. I know that Thailand has had various lockdowns in recent times, and some of the bars and restaurants haven't been serving alcohol. Now, things can change in 5 minutes during the current situation. But, you know, in July, it will be the final insult, wouldn't it? To make the effort to go all of that way, go to all of those tests and whatever, find that it's raining a lot of the time, and also that you can't get a beer in a restaurant or a bar or whatever. It's not looking good. The only thing that I can really see for it is the fact that it would be useful to the long-term traveller. So if you were heading out to Thailand, you know, planning on going out there for a few months, would you look at this Phuket model at the moment and think, oh, that's pretty good, that. It's not perfect, but for a starter, it's not really that bad. I must admit, I'd consider it. I would consider it, you know, for the reason that I've given you, you know, a relaxing couple of weeks, having to undergo a few tests. It was not that relaxing, but then you're able to go on to other things, you know, do as you please. Yeah, I'd certainly consider that. It's certainly a progression of what's, you know, the ideas that have come before it. But the fact is that it is still in the rainy season out there, and you know, and a lot of places out in Thailand, it's not just Phuket that's having problems, but a lot of places in Thailand are having problems. So at this moment in time, even if it happens in July, or I've heard the rumour that it might be put back to August, personally I think I'd leave it to beyond that. I'd personally, if I'm going to spend a few months in somewhere like Thailand, I think I'd rather leave it till maybe September, or preferably October. Ah, no, October. Now you're talking, because what I hear is that from October, if the Phuket model is, well, I won't use the word success, but if it works okay, then places like Chiang Mai, a few other places in Thailand, and even Pattaya may follow suit. What this means is that from October you may, it's certainly not confirmed, but you may be able to begin your Thai travels for a couple of weeks in Pattaya. Now, personally, I'd rather go to Pattaya than I would go to Phuket. And also, the month of October, now that's more realistic. Most of the rainy season is gone by then. You know, October is still in the low season, rainy season, but you are coming towards the peak season then. To begin for a couple of weeks in Pattaya, or Chiang Mai, if you like that place, you know, if you prefer that place, and then you know, go on through the peak season to enjoy your travels around Thailand, that sounds far more agreeable. So the idea of waiting until October, well, it sounds much better. So, are you getting excited by this Phuket model? This Phuket Sandbox, whatever it's called, model? Perhaps not. Am I getting excited? No. But the fact is, I wouldn't entirely rule it out. It's a progression if it all comes about. But then, you know, you never know what's going to happen next in this long-running pandemic soap opera, this never-ending soap opera. It just goes on and on. You know, at this rate, it's going to go on longer than Coronation Street or EastEnders. Jesus Christ. But the fact is that if it really comes about that October is going to see other places like Pattaya, you know, to follow the same model, then that is far, far more agreeable. I'd go with that one personally. But October is quite a long way away, and at the end of the day, you know, you can't keep putting things off and putting things off. I haven't travelled for quite a while. I really need to start having a life again. And, you know, I suppose for me and many others, life begins in Southeast Asia. Well, I don't know. You just got to wait and see what happens next. Okay, so there's no easy answers to anything. We can only hope. So I'll sign off now anyway. I'll say thanks for watching. Keep thinking positive. Peace, love and goodwill to everyone. Let's all hope for better times ahead. And I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.